well, that was fucking insane. So, basically, I just saw George Lucas, Star Wars Theory, James Arnold Taylor, Nerdrotic, and, like, there's probably 8 people I'm missing, bro. Like, I've never seen that many, like, famous people in one day. That was crazy. Not to mention, this whole George Lucas thing was insane. I mean, I waited 3 hours yesterday. So I drove 2 hours, waited 3, drove 2 hours back home, woke up at 4 a.m., drove an hour and a half here, waited another 5 hours, and then I finally saw George. That's how the experience is to go into Hall H. Being in Hall H is like a really special thing. Like, there's very few people on earth who get into Hall H. And this was one where I was like, it's worth the wait. You know, who knows when George is going to be seen in public like this again, where you can actually go see him, right? Like, it never happens. And that's really why this was a big deal, because you can barely ever see him anywhere. And this panel was about his museum. So Guillermo del Toro was there, and Doug Chang was there, and Queen Latifah was moderating. So it was a stacked cast. Obviously we were all there for George, though. And not to throw shade at anyone, but come on. Anyways, so his museum is gonna be absolutely revolutionary. Every aspect of it is new and original and something you've never seen before. And the whole mission of this museum is to put the spotlight on, like, comic artists, on, you know, more underground narrative art that is buried by the snobby modern art culture, you know, where that kind of art is considered, you know, lowly and not on the same level as other art pieces. And George is saying, no, these are the pieces that make people storytellers, make people artists, you know, and these are important, these need to be shown. So that's why he's making this whole museum. And not only that, we're exploring narrative art from many different periods of time, going all the way back to, like, Mesopotamia to present, you know, comic book artists like Jack Kirby and you know, movie conceptual artists like Ralph McQuarrie and the guy who did the Indiana Jones concept art. Like, you're seeing all this different kinds of art. And then not only that, there's also movie props and costumes that are going to be rotating in and out. And from what we saw, there's going to be pod racers, Grievous's wheel bike, an N1 starfighter, and then a bunch of different, like, maquettes and props and everything in the museum itself. So you're going to get stuff from the Star Wars archive too. And I guess George has been making this kind of art collection since he was in college. So he's built this over a long period of time, and he's finally going to put it somewhere for everyone to see, which is really cool and very George of him, you know, sharing his ideas and sharing his things with everyone else around him. Yeah, so it's going to be great. It is really going to be a great museum. Very happy that I got access to that press kit, and I'm thrilled to be a huge part of that museum, as huge as I can possibly be. You know, I will get a membership, I'll advertise it, I don't care. You know, art is so vital to society, and, like, without art, society is just, like, run by these certain people. And that's what Guillermo del Toro said. He's like, you know, right now a bunch of art is just propaganda controlled by, you know, a small group of people. And it's true. And he's like, we need to bring to light real art made by the people, you know, and that is what's vital to keeping culture and society going. And I couldn't agree more. You know, this is a mission beyond a cool George Lucas museum. This is about maintaining narrative art and structure, you know, and that's what society needs, you know. Mainly Jesus, right? Obviously. But you also, I feel like a lot of us live for art, you know, if you think about it, right? whether you're like a Star Wars fan or a Marvel fan, whatever, like any of that, all of Comic-Con, you're obsessed with some kind of art, you know, that alone is like all art. And it's like that unites so many people together, you know, just these pieces of art of narrative art that have been super successful and have captured a large audience, you know. There's a reason why we have these massive communities, like Star Wars, for example, that I've been part of the online community for like 6 years, 5 or 6 years now. And I've met so many other creators, other people, you know. I met Theory today, which was huge. You know, I met Gary and like so many people, dude. And it's like, it's crazy, you know. And even the people I don't agree with, right? Even the people that I have problems with, whatever, you know, like Carly King and whatever. I ran into her too, right? But like, at the end of the day, we try to set our differences aside and just be like, we're here celebrating Star Wars. No matter what, you know, we all can appreciate George's movies. Whether we want that vision to continue or not, we all at least support, like, enjoy those movies. So we're able to at least interact for a short period of time without discussing new stuff or whatever. But you know, it's just incredible. It's an incredible, almost beautiful experience being in that room with George and being with, because everyone in that room was people who really, really, really cared. Because, you know, other than the press, like, all those people in there waited hours and hours and hours, and a fake fan wouldn't do that, you know? So you were in there with real hardcore fans who just genuinely loved George, and you felt that energy, you know, the entire time. And how people could just sit there for like 4 hours listening to George talk about things, you know. And that's like, I feel just really important, you know, to the Star Wars fandom. And it was healing to the fandom, because I originally loved the fandom and everything, you know. And then as of like recent, I just kind of dropped out of it. I'm like, everyone in here's a fucking nut. They don't understand Star Wars. They don't appreciate George. The only person that you know, is like similar to me is Theory and Gary and all of them. And I'm like, they're the only ones who like I feel, you know, connected with, and the rest of you guys are idiots, you know. But, and just having this preconception of all these fans, they don't even know, like, they claim to be fans, whatever. And I'm sitting in this room going, I wonder how many people are real fans. And then I got hit with that energy. And it's like, wow, there are a lot of people out there who just don't have a voice online, but are huge fans of George. And it's like, we need to get those people involved, because that's how you spread ideas, is by, you know, and George said, you can't make massive art on your own, you know, and you can't spread ideas purely by yourself. You need more than one person to spread the message, right? And it's like, we need as many people as we can get. And it's not to beat anyone or prove anything or any of that corny shit, but it's just to keep George's vision of Star Wars and narrative art alive, you know. And I think that's most important at the end of the day. We don't need to kill Disney or whatever that corny horse shit is. You know, it's like, we can't do that, number one. And number two, they're never going to change. Number three, if they did, who would know what to do over there, right? It's like, give that up, you know. Just know that they're going to be them, you know, and maybe we could help them get a little better, which we're doing right now, but we're never going to be able to fully change them, because they're always going to be stuck up their ass, you know. And that's not anything that we can control, and we need to just accept that and let go and know that they're stupid, and that the next generation of filmmakers will have to carry Star Wars into better days. But as of right now, like, they're you know, it's going to just be this way till the next generation, my generation, comes in and we go in and fix everything, you know, but that'll take a while, right? Because age, you know, it takes time. But yeah, you know, and here's the thing, like, I saw the Lucasfilm booth this year, way better than last year. Last year was all Acolyte bullshit. This year is Lucasfilm Animation. They had a section for Clone Wars, for Rebels, for Resistance, for Bad Batch, for Tales, the Tales of shows, and for Maul Shadow Lord. And then they had a bunch of props and maquettes and Dave Filoni's actual, like, conceptual drawings. It was really, really cool, you know, and that's really the hub for Star Wars fans. Everyone kind of goes over there and you mingle. And I talked to so many fans who aren't online and have no presence, and I talk to them like, hey, you know, just like, what are your thoughts on what's going on? And, you know, all the real fans are in unison. You know, some might not be as passionate about, you know, being anti-Disney or whatever as others, but still, at the end of the day, we all come down to a bottom line, which is what's going on in Star Wars right now is just not healthy for the brand. And everyone agrees, you know, and I just hope that things kind of recuperate, because they have with Marvel and DC. So I'm hoping that Star Wars is next, you know, and that Maul Shadow Lord and Mando and Grogu and Ahsoka Season 2 are all really good, you know, and conceptually they sound great, but you never know with them, right? It's foolish to predict otherwise, you know. You know, I even met some Star Wars fan filmmakers there. You know, it's like, that's really where you meet, like, real fans, is at, like, a Comic-Con. Celebration, there's a lot of just Disney fans there. Like, not even Disney Star Wars fans, but just Disney fans who, like, treat it as, like, a Disney Parks thing, and they show up in their Mickey ears. It's like, ugh. But still a very cool event. It's just that people there aren't as legit. To where if you go to this, you know, Comic-Con is kind of like the OG Comic-Con event that people have been going to for years. So you're going to run into more legit people there. And especially with George there. You know, George draws the real crowd. So he drew me in. I wasn't going to be there if it weren't for him. Hell no. You know, but only due to their fucking ticket system, which is a lottery, and I waited 2 hours with my computer open online and didn't get a fucking ticket. Oh god. And it's still, you can't fucking walk in there. It's like, even with their insane system, their lottery, you can't even fucking walk in the hall. Like, you're like hobbling because there's so many people. And then when one person stops, the whole fucking group of people walking in that direction have to stop. It's like that packed. So I really hope that they should, and I said this last year too, they need to cut that amount of people in half. And then it would be a pleasant experience, but they can't, because there's so many different fandoms, and it's like, then the lottery system would be even worse, and the resold tickets would be even more. And by the way, when you have a resold ticket, you have like the buyer's name. So I went by Jamie Morgan through all of fucking Comic-Con, and I made a fake student ID with Jamie Morgan on it, which is the only way I got to George, because, you know, they plaster your name on it. So, like, they don't even want you to fucking resell. But I fucking got you, Comic-Con. Yeah, I didn't call myself Jamie. You know, if someone like James Arnold Taylor asked my name, I was like, it's Zane, you know. But still, you have to get around their system too. So it's a very, very complex event. So, you know, I don't know where I was going with that, but basically, you all should try to go next year. You should. That way, you know, I feel like this was the start of we should just start coming back and forming like a kind of annual get together of real Star Wars fans, which is what this felt like. But, you know, we should do it again next year. You know, try to get a ticket. If you can't, there are ways around it, you know. There are even fucking resellers standing outside. Do you want a badge? You want a badge? Waving around fucking 4-day badges. I'm like, you assholes. This is why they all sell out. Because you have people who are selling badges to the same day, like halfway through the day. Like, no one's gonna buy that shit, bro. Ugh. Anyways. Yeah, so we should all try to come back next year. Everyone. And more. Even the people who didn't go this year. Like, come back next year. And we can, you know, kick some ass here at San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah, and next year's gonna be crazy because that's Mando and Grogu would have come out by then. Like it'll be a different time. I'm sure they'll have stuff from that, and you know, Marvel will have Doomsday, right? Like, we should just show up. Show up if you can. Tickets aren't too expensive regularly. You know, if you buy resold, they're gonna be a couple $100 at least. Unless you find, you know, a friend who will sell theirs to you or whatever the fuck. But yeah, it was great. So nice seeing you, Theory, and Nerdrotic, and James Arnold Taylor, and Matt Lanner, Ashley Eckstein. You know, it was great seeing all you guys. Loved seeing George, obviously, and Guillermo, and Doug, and Queen Latifah. Loved seeing all of you guys. So I will be coming back next year, most likely. You know, if I can snag a ticket, maybe, hopefully, and not have to stress about having a fake name the whole time. Oh god, that was like kind of scary, you know. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, so it was cool. See you guys in the next video. Till the next one, may the force be with you always. Goodbye.